Let's talk about DevOps. Before I talk about DevOps, I'll talk about the software development process. How typically a software is developed in a high level. Whenever nowadays, it was not the situation previously. Something like 15 years before, it was something like whenever you wanted to develop a software, you would get the requirement. The developers will get the requirement from the respective person, customer, or the right stakeholder, and they will get the requirement, and based on that requirement they will work on it. Whatever requirement customer had given, they would make a design, they will write the coding, right? Finally they will deliver the software to the customer, and customer will make sure that, or there can be a testing team who will make sure that whatever functionalities that customer asked for are actually working fine, right? Nowadays, the softwares are very complex, which means the requirements are also very, very complex. Right? If you have a software and you need that software to be successful, the software should have too much features which your customers will love to have. Right? That is the main criteria. If you want your product to be successful, you need to give to the market what they deserve or what they need. That is what your software success depends on. So since the software is very complex, this one shot development does not work anymore. That time has passed actually. Now no organization think about, when they think about a software development, they think about doing it in a continuous way. Probably initially they will think, okay, what is the critical feature which market need right now? Only that feature we will implement and we will go live to the market. Maybe the good thing is that you can go to the market within 2 weeks if you want to. Let's say today you decided that you need a application. Think about a cab application that you need, and you have the requirement set, but probably you know that the important requirement is to have a application on passengers mobile using which they can book a cab, right? Probably even the driver does not need a application initially. So you think about, what would add value to your business? Select that most important feature and then you will implement it. You will go to the market. Then you will keep on adding more and more features to the software product. That is how the software product are being delivered nowadays. Probably initially, you decide if it is a cab application, okay, there are more Android phones in the market than iPhones, and there is no point in releasing the driver application at this point of time because passenger application is important. If there is driver application without a passenger application, it's meaningless. So let's start with the passenger application. Using the passenger application, they can click on a button to make a booking. Then a SMS would be sent to the driver mobile phone. A SMS, not through any application. The driver can see the number of the passenger. He can call the passenger and they can meet and they can travel. Of course, it is a very basic feature, but it works. People can start using your software. Then you would keep on adding more features. Next time you think about, okay, let's do a iPhone application for passenger, because there are a lot of iPhones in the market also. You are losing a lot of money because the people using iPhone are not able to book a cab. You release the iPhone application. Then slowly you decided that you would expand your services, then add more features, then maybe create a driver application for Android and iPhone, then integrate Google Map with your cab application, right? Then find some way to track the driver. Whenever the driver is driving, find a way the driver application would send notification continuously to some location tracker, so that the location of the driver is being tracked and that is shown to the passenger. So like that, you keep on adding more and more features. Then you would decide, okay, let's implement Paytm payment option so that people can book and make payment using Paytm. So like that, you keep on adding more and more features to your software product until your software product become huge, and you will never stop. Actually, it is a never ending process. If you want your software to be successful, you should manage these changes in the software in the best way the market ever could, because there are a lot of competitors nowadays. I mean, it's not the situation like the old days. There are a lot of competitors for any kind of thing, any kind of business. There are a lot of competitors, so your product needs to be extraordinary, or it should be getting the features in a continuous way so that your customer would love to use it. Think about, I mean, you are not implementing Paytm. There are thousands of people out there in the market who don't have money in their wallet, but they have Paytm balance. What they will do, they will select another application, right? So more features you have in the application, the better successful your product is going to be. So changes. So what we are talking about right now is changes to the software. Ever since the first release, you will start this change process, and change process will happen continuously. It can be a feature enhancement, sometimes it can be some bug fix. Think about Uber. People from Bangalore location, they are not able to book a cab. There is some bug in the application. You need to fix it immediately. You not only lose a lot of revenue, you would also lose a lot of customers, right? So the bug fixes, a change request can be anything. Change to the software can be anything. Some bug fixes, additional features that you are adding, right? It can be anything. Even a change in the infrastructure is also a change request nowadays. So anything, any change that affect your software or your infrastructure can be called as a change request. In every organization, right? This change request will come. The change request will come from your testing team. The change request will come for your business team, right? From different team, the change request will keep on coming, and it is the developers, right? The developers are the one who develop the software product. Any change to the software product, yes, they are the ones who should make the changes. What they do, they will make some changes in the source code, right? It could be a Java code or PHP code or something, whatever it is. They make some changes in the source code, and they will implement these new features and new changes into the software. Basically, it is all about changes in the source code for developers. And again, in all days, that is considered as the work. Whatever developers do is the change, right? That was the concept till some 5-10 years ago. That was the concept. Developer successfully implemented the feature in the software. Nowadays, the most important thing is not just making the changes in the code, making sure that you deliver this work to the market, if possible, maybe on an hourly basis. So I will talk about it. Your developer making some change in the source code on their laptops, maybe on their laptop or on some central storage devices. Let me call it a repository. Probably some of you are already using some repository like Git or SVN or Perforce, right? So every company will have a repository. This is used for tracking the issues between tracking the work being done by developers. When developers, there are different change requests coming from different teams. Change request coming from business team, change request coming from testing team. They are saying people from Bangalore not able to book a cab. Change request coming from other business team saying that we need to implement Paytm payment option in the application. So like that, a lot of change requests will keep on coming to the developers. Developer will take the work, and in every organization there will be some tools to track these change requests. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but let's assume each change requests are being worked on by individual developers. So what they need to do, they need to make some change in the source code. They change the code. They, after they are done with the work, they will add their work into a repository. It's a central repository. Assume this is a central place where it will get the work done by individual developers. You can consider this repository like a very smart storage. It can track each and every work done by the developers. Or in other words, it can track the complete history about your software. What I meant to say is, during the initial days of project, the change requests are there, and it is a never ending process. Whenever there is a change in your software, all the changes are recorded in this repository by the respective developers. Each changes to this repository, it's called commits. Any commit happening to this repository, the repository will mark it. Okay, this file is modified. These are the exact lines of code modified by this developer. The complete history about your software would be available in the repository. On what date it was changed, which developer made the change, which exact content and files he modified, everything. So assume you started your development back in 2010. It's been 7 years so far. All the 7 years, this Git or this repository have been recording the changes made to the source code of your software. At any point of time, you can ask the repository uh, what what happened in 2015 January, who made this particular feature, and who added the Paytm option. So like that, whatever question that you have about your software history, you can ask to the repository. How about that? Right? Very good, right? So this repository will track every work done by developer, and actually developer, whenever they make a change to the repository, it doesn't mean that your production infrastructure get that change, right? Unless you copy the work from the repository to the production, your customers are not seeing those changes. Tom, this is Tom, who implemented some Paytm payment option in the repository, but people who is trying to book a cab using their mobile phone, they still cannot see those changes, right? Obvious, right? Because the code is not moved here. Moving the code from the repository to the production is very important. And if possible, with the market situation today, you should be as early as possible to the market, to be to stay in the market, to be a good competitor in the market. But actually, there are some issues today people are facing. Right? In every company, there would be a team of operations. They are the ones who own this infrastructure, the production infrastructure. Whatever change need to be copied from the repository to this production environment, typically it is done by this operation team. But whatever change developers are making, that need to be tested, right? There's a testing team in every organization. Their responsibility is testing whatever change developers are making. There are a lot of tests, not just the functionality testing. Actually, Tom added Paytm functionality, then testing team need to check if they are able to make a payment using Paytm before they can move the code to production. For that, probably they will use a testing environment. Probably this will look like a production environment only. It will run the software. Whatever change developers had made, those software would run in this environment, the testing environment. This is accessible only by your team, not outside customers. So the testing team will connect to this environment for their testing. They will check if the Paytm functionality is working fine. They will also do some integration testing. So when Tom integrated this Paytm functionality, did that cause any problem to the existing application, because he need to work with a lot of existing components in order to implement the Paytm. So there is a good chance that some of the existing component of the software get broken. So testing team need to make sure that that doesn't happen. For that, they need to do some additional testing and stuff. And typically, a lot of tests are done in a completely automated way. It is not that the testing team will have a mobile device. They will point that mobile device to this testing environment. Then they will try to book a cab and try to make a payment using Paytm. It's possible they will do that. That kind of testing is also being done. But nowadays, the testing team would prefer the testing to be done in a completely automated way. For that, they will have some testing tool where they will write some test scripts. These test scripts, when they are running, they will connect to this environment and they will do the task for you. Maybe connect, book a cab, pay using Paytm, everything would be executed by this script. There is no human intervention required. So this kind of testing is also getting very popular nowadays. So for now, what you need to assume is there is a testing team. They are interested. Their interest is that making sure that whatever change developers are doing, they are actually stable. The operation team has the additional responsibility. Probably they are the bottleneck in any every organization today. Something like they take the responsibility, they take the heat if something goes wrong with the production environment. So it is their responsibility to make sure that the production environment is stable. If there is a problem, it's a huge loss to the business, and also a lot of heat would come at that time. So the operation team, what their priority is make sure that the production is stable. So they will strictly tell to the developers or testing team that unless this product is tested well in the testing environment, we will not do the releases. But probably the development team would say, okay, we tested it ourselves, it looks to be working, you can do and do a deployment. Probably what they are saying is correct, but there is a good chance that in developer laptops they are using a different version of software and they are testing it there, and it can break once it is moved to production. So these kind of issues can come. So operation team does not want to take such risks. They need to make sure that everything is followed in the right path before it can move to production. And the developers, if any issue they are getting, right, let's say testing team tested something, but it is after 1 week they are doing the testing, they found some issues, something is not working, they send the issue back to the developers. Probably while integrating Paytm payment, some other component got broken, and Tom get that feedback, or maybe the all developers are getting that feedback after 1 week. Tom has no idea whether this change issue happened due to his change. Right? Obviously, I mean, he don't expect such an issue because of Paytm integration. He would say it can be my change. It could be something else. So identifying such issue can be very tough in that situation. If developers are getting feedback after a few days, then it is something like a very complex situation. Developer need to identify these issues and stuff. So due to these issues, these unplanned work, these are called unplanned work. Any feedback get from testing team, you spend a lot of time to identify where the issue comes from. You are spending a lot of time for that. So due to these issues, these unplanned work and stuff, the delay can increase. The way the production, this process is called release process. The process of moving the code to the production, moving the changes to the production is called release process. So due to these issues companies are facing today, people do the releases in a slow manner, something like once in a month or once in 2 months, because the testing team need time, developers need time to fix the unplanned work, right? Operation team will do the release only if everything looks stable. So due to these issues and problem between the teams, it's not problem actually. The interest of each teams are different. Due to these issues, a lot of issues can happen, and the release process is always slow, like once in a month, once in 2 months. So you do the release once in 2 months. What does that mean? any work done by the developer need to wait in the repository for 2 months until it can go to the production environment, until the change become usable to the market. Actually, it is a serious problem nowadays. Just think about one situation. I mean, uh, people from Bangalore are not able to book a cab. For the developer, it is a 10 minutes job. He identified the issue very quickly. He fixed it in 15 minutes. But the fix is not available in the production. You need to wait for 2 months. So within 2 months, people who were already using your application, they failed to book a cab from Bangalore. So they chose a different application. Not only that, you are losing a lot of money, you are losing a lot of customers also. So it is important that whatever it can be a bug problem or there is a competitor to your business, they are adding a lot of features on a daily basis and you are not able to compete with them. Right? It's a serious problem. So like that, the slowing down the releases can impact your business a lot. And again, if you do a release, huge things are being released at one day. There is a good chance that something will break in the production. You will again going to get a lot of unplanned work to the developers. So these are the issues today's industry is facing. Today's every software companies are facing unless they have a proper DevOps setup. So DevOps is trying to fix all these problems. That is what the main responsibility of, main reason why DevOps came into market. As per DevOps, let's think about this. I would give you one example scenario. Let's consider a process continuous integration. Continuous integration means whatever change developers are working on, it will go through all the process that you would follow in a release. That means first the code will be built into an executable code. This executable code will be deployed in a testing infrastructure. A testing will be run on the testing infrastructure to make sure that the change is working fine. A report would be generated based on the testing. That report would be verified and determine whether the particular change is working fine or not. All these things happens during the time of release. All this process would happen every time a developer make a small change. Let's say Tom is working on something. He is updating his changes into a repository. Assume the repository is a smart repository. It can send a notification. Whenever a change comes from a developer, it send a notification to some tool. I'm going to call it a continuous integration tool. We are learning Jenkins. This is such a tool. What this Jenkins does is, okay, it will identify that, okay, there is a change done by the developer. Let's start the building. It will build this code into a executable files. This executable files will be deployed into a testing environment. Then automatically a automation testing tool, or sometimes it can be manual also. A testing would run as soon as possible on this particular change and a report would be generated. This report would be verified by Jenkins, and if everything is looking good, Jenkins will mark this change as a stable change. So whenever a developer make a change, the change will go through the complete release process, even though it is not released to production, of course, but it will go through the complete testing verification purpose, and the developer will get the immediate feedback. Let's say Tom now get a feedback saying that something functionality got broken. Then Tom knows that as he got a immediate feedback, then probably the problem is somewhere in the change which I had just made. He can fix it quickly. It's way different than Tom getting the feedback after 1 month or 1 week. Right? So it will avoid the unplanned work, and also whatever change developers are doing are getting integrated with a mainline as a stable change. As soon as if it is a stable change, it is easy for you to do a release process into the production also. You have a good probability that when this is moved into production, this is going to work, because whenever a new change happen to the repository, again this complete process will repeat. So Every change done by the developer can go through the complete process again and again whenever there is a new change. So each and every change when a new cycle begins, actually it is testing again the existing changes. So you have a good confidence that when you do a release, it's going to work. So you can actually schedule the release on a daily basis also, right? And you can even do it on a hourly. There are companies who do releases hourly basis also against today. I mean against the previously how people used to do it once in 2 months, once in 6 months. So this is what DevOps tries. Actually, it is one part of DevOps. There is some other part also. The infrastructure management is also something DevOps deal with. If you have to set up a infrastructure in the cloud, using some proper. So if you have hundreds of machines in the infrastructure, you cannot humanly remember all these machines. This is a Linux machine. It is running this particular web server. This is a database machine. So you cannot humanly remember all the machine if you have more than 10 machines. But in infrastructure, there can be hundreds or thousands of machines can be there. Definitely, you cannot handle those machines with manual work, right? What you would do is, even the custom script is also not recommended to manage such big infrastructure. What you would do is, you will set up some configuration management. Probably you will tell this tool how your infrastructure should look like. It can contain this many database machines are there, this many web server machines are there, this many these machines are there. That so basically the complete configuration about your infrastructure you will tell to this config management tool. Then the config management tool will manage your infrastructure as per the rule that you have written in this config management tool. It says database service should be running on this machine, and if database service is not running on the machine, the config management tool forced to start it. Something like whatever law, it is something like a law that you have written in the config management tool. The tool will make sure that your entire infrastructure obey that law. Basically, in other words, your infrastructure should look like how it should. So you are automating even the installation. Let's say you want to add some 100 machines. Google found that they have huge traffic coming tomorrow, so they need to add some 100 machine to the infrastructure. What they will do, they will tell the config management tool, they will have a config management system, they will tell to that system, these 100 machines do this particular purpose, these are the software to be installed, everything you would tell to config management tool. Sometimes it is basically adding the machine to a given role, simply adding the machine to a given role. The config management already know what to do with those machines added to that role. Then config management will do the setting. It will install the machine, it will install the necessary software, copy the necessary files, and just add those machines into the infrastructure as a stable live machines. So those kind of, this is your final project. You need to set up such a infrastructure in a completely automated way. We will in our course we would be taking a Java sample application for doing all these projects. You don't need to learn Java, you don't do any kind of development job, but we would be taking a Java application and a PHP application. We will take these two. Even you don't need to learn PHP also, it's not required. Development you don't need to know, but this process we will implement as a live project, how you would do in a organization. So this is all things that we are covering. And like I said, it is more like a practical oriented course. Just make sure that you have enough time, right? Consider 1 hour per day for your assignments and work. And you have weekend, you don't have classes, so spend your weekend in finishing the assignment and learning more things, especially in Linux. I think all of you in today's meeting have a idea about, have a basic about software and or Linux, which is actually good. But still there would be lot of things which you need to work on. Obviously, right? I mean, you're learning a completely different course. So, and make sure that you are following it in the right pattern. Actually, we need to start with the Linux basics, Linux administration. This is mandatory. I mean, whether I think most of you have a basic understanding about Linux. Uh, for you also, this is actually very important and mandatory course. The networking also, these are important. And yeah, that's pretty much about